everyone, it's Vas back with another video, and today I'm actually really excited for the book that I'm going to be talking about because it's actually from a new author, and you guys are literally seeing a new relationship be born because honestly, I really enjoyed Meghan Quinn's writing, and I already know that I am going to be continuing the Kane Brothers series, but I've now kind of felt like I'm going to go into a deep dive of the rest of her books because I really did enjoy her writing that much. And it all started with A Not So Meet Cute by, of course, Meghan Quinn. And Meghan Quinn is, like I said, a new author to me. I know her name. She's popular in the publishing industry, so I know her name. I knew of this series. It was definitely on my list for a while, and I want to say maybe about a year and a half, honestly, when she was really getting recognition for, this series and for this book in particular. I was like, okay, you know what? I want to start reading her work. Now I have no idea what chronologically is her works. I have not researched her at all. And the reason being is I did not need more books to be added to my TBR. And two, going back to what I've been saying is that I really wanted to be intentional with my reading and the books that I'm picking up. And I did not want to pick up a new author and kind of risk seeing what would happen when I know that there are other authors and there are other anticipated reads that I'm holding out for this year. But don't get me wrong, I am going to continue reading this book. Book number 2 is, I believe, Not So Meant to Be. And then I believe book number 3 is A Long Time Coming. So I'm going to assume with the titles of that the second book is probably going to be in Enemies to Lovers, or it's going to be, the guy kind of like chasing the girl a lot and her being like, no, like this can't happen, or vice versa. And then I believe the third one is probably either going to be a second chance romance, or it's going to be a friends to lovers type of situation to where these two people have kind of been skirting and flirting around with the idea of a relationship, but then they, haven't really done it, and now they will. Again, I have not looked into any of these books, so that's just my assumption. But like I said, I am going to continue reading this series now. I'm very confused about what my rating is going to be, so you guys are going to figure it out with me by the end of this video. Okay? So, like I said, A Not So Meet Cute is the first book I picked up by Meghan Quinn, and I do have a couple other of her books on my TBR. I never took the plunge because I didn't know how her writing was going to be. Now that I'm a little bit more familiar with her writing and I'm enjoying this series, I'm going to finish reading the series, like I said, and then from there, I'll kind of see which other books by her I want to pick up. But that's going to be a completely different story for a completely different day. Okay. A quick synopsis of A Not So Meet Cute. This synopsis is going to be a little ridiculous because the story in itself is a little ridiculous and outlandish. One of the issues that I kind of had with this book is that their setup was a little weird. It's not that their meet cute was weird, because I actually really did enjoy that interaction. I thought it was hilarious, but it was kind of the setup towards that meet cute that was a little weird. Now, I don't know. I'll get into it a little bit later. So the story opens up with Lottie waiting to get promoted at her job. Okay, now she finds out that she's actually being fired. And her boss is supposedly this best friend of hers that she had growing up. But she explains right from the very beginning that they have a very toxic relationship and that she's not really her friend at all. But she kind of keeps her around because she makes her feel good when they are on good terms. You can see that throughout the story that she's really trying to disentangle herself from Angela. And Angela was her boss slash best friend. She ends up getting fired from her job, even though she's really good at it. Anyways, so she's kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. The problem that she has now is that with the promotion, she was planning on moving out of her parents' house. Okay, and she also has student debts to pay off. She was really looking forward to this promotion because it was going to open up a lot of doors for her. Her parents, or her mom and her stepdad, are really looking forward to her moving out because they really want some alone time. Her sister lives in a small studio apartment that does not fit another person. So Lottie, our main character, or our female main character, is really now trying to figure out what needs to be done. Now, I don't exactly agree with her methods here, but I understand why it was done. It was really just plot to push the story forward. Now, when she tells her sister that she, got fired and that she needs a plan, her sister comes over, tries to help her out. And instead of them really just trying to get her to, apply for new jobs, she's like, you know what? I need a rich husband. I have this reunion coming up. I just need somebody to fake a relationship with me so that we can go to this reunion and I can shove it up Angela's behind. Okay. And show her that I'm not a loser after all. So her plan actually kind of works because she runs into our male main character, which is Huxley Kane, the oldest of the Kane brothers. Okay. Now, Huxley is in a little bit of a predicament himself because he is trying to score this major deal with this client, Dave. But Dave is kind of like a hard person to do business with. He is a very relatable guy, and he does not trust a lot of business people because he thinks that they lie and cheat to get whatever they want. So he's actually a pretty stand-up guy, but he holds a lot of valuable real estate. Huxley is trying to obtain that client. Now, his brothers are telling him, hey, dude, I told you not to do this. He is not going to do business with us. There's no way that you're going to get him, that you're going to convince him otherwise. He's too relatable and you're just too much of a robot and you're just, all business and no personal. So this is not going to work out. So what does Huxley do? He actually sees Dave, out and about on the street. He goes up to him and says, hey, how are you? Right? And he's actually with his pregnant fiance. So Huxley is trying to, find something personal to talk to him about. And, he pulls out these lies, whatever, very, very little white lies to kind of connect with the fiance. But Dave is not having it. He's starting to get a little defensive. He's starting to get a little protective, like, what are you doing trying to go in on my woman? So in order to cover up that lie, Huxley says, oh my goodness, like, my fiance is pregnant also. And what a coincidence, right? So he's like, that is a coincidence. Okay, bet. Let's go and have dinner at my place. I want to meet this woman. See what's up, right? So now Huxley, in 3 days, has to find a fake fiance and pretend that she's pregnant. Okay? And on top of that, he pulled out this bull that she is from Georgia. So now she has to have an accent that she didn't have before. Like what? Anyways, so Lottie runs into Huxley while Huxley is, taking a walk in his neighborhood, okay? They end up actually like hitting it off right away. They're funny, they're both attractive, and they both kind of like let it be known. And it's really funny because she kind of just is like, I'm lost and this is a stupid idea. This is what I was planning to do. And he's like, hold up. You need help. I need help. Let's figure this out together. So they end up going to their like Chipotle and kind of iron out the details, get to know each other a little bit, and he kind of drops the bomb and he says like, can you do this for me? At first, Lottie is like, you know what, maybe I can. But then at the end of their, like Chipotle dinner, she's like, I'm so stupid, like I cannot do this, right? So she ends up not really agreeing to it. But Huxley is like, he's very observant, okay? And he's like, she's holding back. I know she's holding back. She wants to help. She needs the help, I can tell. So he does whatever he can to get her to agree. When Huxley, sending flowers to the house doesn't really, do anything for her, he literally shows up and talks to her mom and says, oh my God, I'm her boyfriend. So nice to meet you. So now she kind of has to do it because now her mom thinks that she's been in a relationship. And her mom kind of slips up and says, everything that's going on, apart from, her losing her job because her parents don't know about that. Huxley takes the opportunity to capitalize on all of that. And he basically makes it impossible for Lottie to say no. They end up actually, agreeing to it. And she's like, okay, you know what? This is what I need to be done out of this deal in order for me to do it. And clearly Huxley is desperate because he's willing to do everything for her. And her demands aren't even that crazy either. She kind of doesn't even demand it. He just says to her, if you could do this, like what would need to be done in order for everything to work out? And she kind of like says all of her little things. And he's like, done. I can make all of that happen. Next. They do end up making that deal, but she finds it ridiculous that now she has to pretend to be pregnant. Lottie ends up moving out of her mom's house, but she moves in with her sister instead. But once Huxley sees, where she's living and how bad it's going to be there, he's like, no. You're going to come live with me. Okay? It just makes more sense. Now they're living together. Okay? And they're kind of doing business a little bit together too, apart from like this whole fake, dating thing. Kelsey, who is Lottie's sister, has an organizing business, okay? And they end up doing business with the Kane Enterprises so that they can reorganize like all of their offices. And that's a really big account for Kelsey because that means it's not just the Kane Enterprises, main building. That is probably going to include all of the properties and all of the other businesses that they own. Kelsey is over the moon excited about this. She's like, this could really make my business great. And Lottie, of course, wants to help her sister and wants this for her, right? Because at the end of the day, her dream is to work with her sister. And Huxley's trying to make that happen, okay? The reason why I like Kelsey and mention her so much is because she is completely aware of the situation. All of the Kane brothers are completely aware of the situation. So everyone knows what's going on, but also one of the Kane brothers, I cannot remember who, I want to say it's JP, that is really into Kelsey. Now, I'm not sure if that's what book number 2 is going to be about or book number 3. I don't know. But if they do get a book, like if that's the relationship that actually flourishes, I'm going to be so happy because I really want to know. Because as much as I want to learn about the Kane brothers, because it is their stories, I really want to know about Kelsey's. The amount of ridiculous scenarios that these two end up in, and not just them two alone, right? Because that's usually kind of what happens in these type of books. No, I'm talking about all the different, dinner and lunch dates and, Lamaze classes that Huxley and Lottie end up having to suffer through with Dave and his fiancée Ellie. Now, Ellie's very cute. I really like her. She's a little annoying, but for the most part, she's a fun side character. Okay. And that's kind of how, you could tell how loyal each character is to each other because they are put in some ridiculous scenarios and they both pull through in the end. Okay. And I actually really do like their relationship. I didn't think he was as rude as Lottie was making him out to be. I guess I'm coming from like the Twisted series where they really just be like grunting at each other. But I really did like the way Lottie was always so quick with the comeback to Huxley. And I don't know, Huxley was being weird and we know why he's being weird, but at the same time, it really didn't hurt for him to just have like a normal conversation with her, right? It wasn't until she was like, dude, I need a lot more from you in order for this to work out, that he's like, okay, you know what? Let me lighten up a little bit. They do end up having a couple spicy scenes before they actually decide to start dating for real. And oof. Lottie's character is a little interesting because she claims that she cannot confront people, especially when it comes to Angela, but then she has no problem doing it with everybody else. So that's a little confusing. I wish there was just a little bit more explanation on that part. Maybe just a couple sentences kind of being like, in her internal monologue being like, I can do this with every other person. Why can't I do this with her? Maybe just a little recognition so that we know what's going on with her character and that we know what type of person she is, but that she's not, only like this with one person or not like this with everybody, because she does say that she's non-confrontational, but then she has no problem confronting Huxley. Okay, so, and you'd think that that would be more intimidating because he's a billionaire, right? And she's living in his house, but whatever. And the other part that kind of bugged me was she's supposed to be somebody who has a master's in business. And, you know, she did really well at Angela's job, like at Angela's workplace. And she's supposed to be the business, you know, head behind Kelsey's business. So when she's kind of making these stupid mistakes that, you know, is like almost business 101, and Huxley even calls her out for it, I'm like, this is weird. I feel like she should know this, right? And she even says a whole bunch of stuff like, oh, I didn't read it. I didn't read it. I didn't read the contract. And it's like, you didn't read the contract? So now you don't know what you need to do and what you can't do? Because he brings it up time and time again. He's like, did you not read the contract? And even Kelsey says it too. She's like, yeah, you're supposed to go do that. It's in the contract. You signed it. So it just, I know she loves her sister, and I know she really, you know, enjoys the work that she does. And she wouldn't let her sister down in that regard. But I'm like, this is the person who's going to be in charge of running like the financial and business side of your company. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird, but that kind of gets fixed, you know, a little bit down the line, where they have, you know, a really good pitch. They have a really good business plan. You know, she really helps fix like the website, and, you know, it's kind of, you know, flourishing from there. I'm like, fine. Okay. But it just was a little odd. Now, once again, I think it was more plot driven than anything else. So I can't really fault it, but that was kind of like my little issues with the story. And that is definitely why I'm having such an issue with my rating, because I have no idea how I want to rate it. I really want to give it a 5, but I can't give it a 5. So maybe by the end of this video, I'll figure it out. The story, like I said, in itself is just ridiculous. The characters are also ridiculous. Like I said, they get into these stupid and embarrassing scenarios, and I don't want to mention any of them because you need to read them. The only way you can enjoy that secondhand embarrassment that I went through is if you go in completely blind and just only know that there's a lot of like Lamaze and dinner and lunch dates and stuff like that. That's all I'm going to say about it. Even in my right mind, or even in my non-right mind, couldn't think of these type of scenarios. When I tell you, especially that first scene in the first baby class that they go to, my mind could not fathom going in that direction. Completely and utterly ridiculous. But I ate it up so much. And I think that's to be said when a book kind of establishes themselves at the beginning to be a little ridiculous and a little like goofy. You know what's going to happen, and that the entire book is going to be that way. So you kind of just sit back and is like, let's see, what are they going to throw at the wall today? And that's kind of what happens. And I really did enjoy reading this book. And the reason why I'm so happy about this book is because it was so lighthearted. It was so funny, like belly laughed out loud funny. Like, oh my God. And I think the reason why I want to continue the series is because I just want to keep staying in that, you know, fun state. Honestly, I need to get more into rom-coms because they're so funny. Like, actually, the last book that I read that I really found funny and that was rom-com-y was By a Thread by Lucy Score. And I read that well over a year ago. And I really enjoyed it, right? Because it was funny. I really did not want a Not So Me Cute to be over with. I actually put it off reading the last couple days because I knew I was going to be done it quickly. And I was just like, I want more. I want more funny. I want more. Now, it is going to fool you into believing everything is okay. When I tell you this third act breakup really did suck. I thought we were going to get away with it. There was literally only like 40 to 50 pages left. And I was like, I don't know. We might actually get away with it. But we didn't. And oh, it really sucked. But thankfully, because these were grown adults, they were able to kind of patch things up quite quickly. So we didn't actually stick in that third act breakup for very long. It had a pretty quick turnaround, obviously, because the book was going to be done. But I think it actually made sense because something happened today, and then the following day, we were already trying to resolve everything. I mean, we were trying to resolve everything in the moment when it happened, but Huxley was like, no, I need to fix this. And the next day in the morning, he tries to fix it. And I believe it does get fixed that night. So the turnaround is very quick. Okay, very quick. But it did really hurt me. It was like a quick like slap in the face, and I was like, "Ay." But again, it's for the story to progress in a certain way. The side characters, oh, amazing. Love them all, which is another reason why I want to continue the series. So I keep mentioning in this video about my rating for this book. I still don't know what I want to rate it. And I have to figure it out soon because on my Goodreads, it's still counting this book as my current read. But I finished it like 3 days ago. Yeah. I didn't want to not give it a rating, so I'm trying to figure that out. I know it's not going to be a 5-star read, especially now that I've kind of gone through the things that I liked and didn't like about it. The thing about Goodreads is you cannot do like half ratings. And it does not deserve a 4, but it does not deserve a 5. My internal rating, I think, is between 4.25 and 4.5. But I guess I'm going to have to put a 4-star on Goodreads because that's what it's going to allow me to do. But just know it deserves much more than that. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I could honestly talk a lot more about this book, but it just, I don't know, I feel like it's not really doing it justice. And the only thing that I will add is that Angela really does get her comeuppance at the end. And that when Huxley and Lottie actually do become a couple, ooh, they're actually so cute together. He really does go above and beyond to make her feel special. Once he figures out that he really likes her and then he wants to start dating her, ooh, it's known. And the thing that I really liked about this book was that things happened and things were said to where a miscommunication could happen. And no, they literally nip it in the bud right away. And I love it. Because every time I see something like that happen, I'm like, oh no, are they going to do this miscommunication trope where they don't talk to each other? And then, you know, everything could have literally been resolved in like 3.5 seconds. But no, they did not go down that miscommunication trope. Okay, kind of skipping ahead a little bit. Once the whole deal and everything is figured out and they really are dating, Lottie kind of is like, okay, well, our contract is kind of fulfilled. I shouldn't be staying at his house any longer. So I really need to start moving out. And he sees her looking at apartments and he's like, what are you doing? And he gets so angry with her. And she's like, well, I mean, I just assumed that, yeah, we'd continue dating, but why would I still be living in your house? And he literally looks her dead in her eyes and is like, you are not going anywhere. You're literally staying in my room, staying in my bed, and staying at my house. This is your house too. And I don't want you to ever think about it. And he even says to her, like, I don't ever want to see you looking at that ever again. And then it's all good. Like, it's all good. Just, oh, so beautiful. I love them. At the same time, I'm like, maybe I could have liked more, but I do kind of like how easygoing the story was and how it wasn't too like outlandish and there wasn't too many extra details or made it like over the top. Huxley Kane is quite literally a very simple man, and Lottie kind of is a simple woman as well. So the way that they interact with each other and even his gestures towards her are really sweet. That is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys pick up this book, and even if you have picked up this book, continue with the others. And please leave a comment down below if you have read any of the books and if you like them and which book was your favorite. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you like, comment, subscribe, share, comment down below, and do all of, you know, that fun stuff that I love to say every time. Okay, bye.